we're back
everybody.
again.
This is Binging the Force, and we are so excited to get news from Celebration 2023. We had so much that came out of London these past few days, and so we are just like overwhelmed with awesome Star Wars news. So, Michael, why don't you take us through some of the announcements that happened?
So we have here, for those of us watching this special bonus episode of Binging the Force, this last weekend, April, I guess over 4 days? April
Friday through Monday,
2023 in London. We had Star Wars Celebration, and they brought in tons of the actors from all of the shows, from all of the movies. There was an insane amount of new announcements, an insane amount of trailers and everything. So the big thing is, right off the bat, is that there are going to be more, another season of Tales of the Jedi Season 2, which is what we started off the show with, and there's still a couple of them for us to go back and finish off on. But yeah, more Season 2 of Tales of the Jedi. And then the big thing is that 3 new Star Wars movies was kind of the headline on the first day.
What?
Yeah. 3 new Star Wars movies were announced. To be released over several years. First off, we've got they put up this timeline talking about what's going to be happening, or at least delineating. I mean, I'm going to really kind of throw this to Dale, or the rest of you guys, to really break into this and talk about these different eras of Star Wars and where this new announced movie kind of fits into it.
Yep, this is going to be Generation Zero, basically the book of Genesis, and for stories about Jedi in the Star Wars universe, I guess. So nothing recorded or no stories told earlier than this, even earlier than the Old Republic and High Republic. James Mangold, he's doing the Indiana Jones that comes out this summer. So he's got that pre-existing relationship with Kathleen Kennedy, and he's on tap to helm the next big Star Wars film. It might not be the next one out. He's also doing Swamp Thing for DC at the same time. So we'll see kind of how his attention goes over the next couple of years. But exciting to get a story like this, I think. No one expected it.
And for those people just listening, I mean, what we're looking at is a chart that shows different eras, in the Star Wars story, in the Star Wars timeline. And this was a slide that was shown at Celebration. And so I highlighted, that basically they made now the first entry in that timeline. It's now Dawn of the Jedi, and I believe that is intended at this point, subject to possible change, but that is going to be the title of the Star Wars movie that James Mangold is going to make, Dawn of the Jedi. And then from there it goes to Dawn of the Jedi, the Old Republic, the High Republic, Fall of the Jedi, which is basically episodes 1, 2, 3, and then Reign of the Empire, which is episodes 4, 5, 6. What is the next one there?
Age of
Rebellion. So that's 4, 5, 6 as well. The New Republic, which is kind of the era that we're in on TV right now, with Book of Boba Fett, The Mandalorian, Ahsoka, is all part of the New Republic. And then the First Order is essentially the episode 7, 8, and 9 is the rise of the First Order. And then after that, we've got the New Jedi Order. And that takes us to another one of our films.
So hold on one second before you keep going. So 3 movies is very ambitious. I think of the 3 movies, if any, and Star Wars has made lots of announcements of directors, potential movie concepts over the past, ever since Rise of Skywalker came out, right? So I want to be excited for this. But we've been burned these past few years of potential movie announcements that all just kind of fall apart, right? For one reason or another. And so I think they want this to feel differently with these movies, but I think that if any movie falls apart, it would be this one, and have it not happen. That's my watch. Yeah, I'm recording this now, April 2023. So we will see, years from now, if my magic 8 ball is true.
I mean, James Mangold is, as Dale said, he's very, very busy. He's a very in-demand filmmaker. He works on a lot of stuff. He's got Indiana Jones coming out. He's already pledged right now to Swamp Thing, but things happen while things are in pre-production, or not even pre-production, I shouldn't say, in development, while things are still in development. But I know Kathleen Kennedy was quoted as saying that the 3 movies announced were further along in development than they had let people know previously.
Yeah, she did say that they were pretty well developed at this point, and like Michael said, really moving along.
Tell that to Takai Waititi.
Yeah, I mean, until I mean, the phases in terms of filmmaking, you've got development, and development can be decades. You've got pre-production, which is usually like a couple months to a couple years to actually get everything ready to start filming. A film is not real until cameras start rolling, and so we're definitely not there on any of these projects at this point. So
Ryan Johnson.
Yeah, so nothing is real, and as Warner Brothers proved, last year, even after things have been filmed and edited and stuff, that's no guarantee that a film or a TV show is ever going to actually be released. So there are never any guarantees.
But the concept is good. I think this concept is good. It's been broached before a little bit in the Dark Horse comics, if I remember correctly, kind of like the first Jedi. But of course, that's all Legends now. So I think it's a fun idea. It's definitely a fun idea.
Yeah, I think Rebels even went into kind of the mysticism of the cube thing, that is going to kind of show the origin of this. It's going to be kind of a mystic kind of, because this is like 10,000 years before the Old Republic, I guess. It's going to go way back and kind of give the religious origins of the Jedi and stuff. So
even discovering the Force,
it's going to be a very different movie. It could be really cool. Great director if they can make the script and everything work right. So
right.
Before we get to that new Jedi Order one, which kind of is the more controversial one, let's go with the less controversial one, which is that one of the films announced is going to be a new movie without a title yet, that will be directed by Dave Filoni and written by Jon Favreau. It will be a wrap-up movie for essentially like the entire New Republic era that they're doing right now, which encompasses Mandalorian, Ahsoka, Book of Boba Fett, Skeleton Crew is in there as well. So all the things that are taking place in this era, in Return of the Jedi, and now Episode 7.
Force
Awakens. That era there. It will be basically the fan favorite movie, I would say. That gives Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, who have had such success on TV, a much bigger budget to tell a larger story, to kind of put the nice
put the bow on. Put the bow on.
All the story that Dave Filoni's been doing since Clone Wars and Rebels and all that kind of stuff. All these characters that they've been creating, and give them a big budget canvas and a movie theater canvas to kind of finish that story on.
Yeah, that could be a lot of fun if you bring all these characters together, right?
Yeah,
it could be a lot of fun. I mean, Ahsoka, Mandalorian. I don't know exactly how you'd integrate them, but it could be really, really cool.
Well, and the pre-production on that's already done. I mean, that's the thing. They know how to do this movie because they've got all the TV shows, they've got all the actors cast. So it's really just giving you a big crescendo Avengers Endgame type ending to that project.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of to compare it to the MCU. Yeah, it's the end of their phase.
Yeah.
I mean, this idea wasn't really a surprise because the announcements back in December 2020. When they announced things like Book of Boba Fett and Rangers of the New Republic, it's putting all these stories in the same part of the timeline so that you can do some kind of crossover. But I think for me, the most exciting part of this is they want to put this in theaters. It's not just going to be, hey, next month we're going to have this new Disney Plus content. We get to go back in theaters and see these characters that started off on our TVs. We get to see them on the big screen. I'm very excited for this.
That's a good point, Dale, because when it comes to some of this stuff, I mean, look how some of the Marvel Cinematic Universes handle things when it comes to here's the Disney Plus shows, here's the movies. Do they mix? Do you have to see the shows in order to understand what's happening in the movies? For the most part, it's been no, but now we're getting into this whole, kind of Kang evil villain centered phase of the movies. And if you haven't seen things like Loki or other places that he's going to be showing up in a show, will you feel lost? So, but I feel like for this Filoni verse culmination in a movie, I feel like it's going to be tough. They try to walk that line of you don't have to have seen everything that's come before to enjoy this big thing over here. Maybe you'll just see all this and you'll get more out of it, out of the movie. If you have seen all of these episodes, maybe you don't have to have it. Can you make a Mando, Ahsoka, Book of Boba Fett movie stand on its own? And then John Q. Public can come and see it.
That's the challenge. Is
hasn't watched all of Clone Wars, hasn't watched all of Rebels, hasn't watched all of Mandalorian, hasn't watched all of Ahsoka, hasn't watched all of Skeleton Crew.
That's the challenge. I think that they need to make a good movie. And like one of my favorite Star Wars movies is Rogue One. It's a good movie to begin with. It's not. You don't have to be totally steeped in. Like I read like Catalyst and stuff like that. It gave the backstory of them, mining the kyber crystals and stuff like that. You can get real nerdy, but it was just a good movie. It had interesting characters. It had a goal that they were all trying to achieve, and the stakes were high. And
it's a movie that can stand on its own, right?
Yeah, because like
you get more out of it if you know the wider universe.
Exactly.
I think that is the challenge for Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau in this one.
Yeah, I think by the time this one goes in front of cameras, we'll have 4 or 5 seasons of Mando, 2 or 3 seasons of Ahsoka, maybe a season or 2 of Skeleton Crew. But how do they name this? I know they're not going to put a number in the title, and they probably aren't going to call it Mandalorian the movie. Like, how do you shape this where an audience, where someone can just go in and say, I want to go see the new Star Wars, and I don't want to watch 50 hours of television prior to going in.
They do previously on all of these episodes as like first 5 minutes of the movie.
You almost have to create a new story, or a story that can be compacted in that 2.5 hours or 3 hours, however many they get it, that everybody can catch up to and understand. It is a little bit dangerous. Because I think Iger coming back, he's told Kathleen Kennedy, you got to make these Star Wars movies work again. And for them to work, the mass audience has to come see them, not just us.
Sure.
Michael,
you have a title?
You watch everything Dave Filoni does and you absolutely love him, right?
But can he make a movie? A great motion picture
absolutely
that will
he can.
make
Full faith.
Because that's what he needs to do.
So let's move on to the third movie announced, which was probably the most controversial, I'd say, of the 3. It shouldn't be, but I think it is. And that is a continuation of the saga, basically a new movie without a title, but it will be starring Daisy Ridley as Rey, returning 15 years after the rise of Skywalker. Daisy Ridley returns as Rey. She is now a Jedi Master. She is in the process of forming the New Jedi Order, which is now that new era of Star Wars that we're moving into past the 9 movie Skywalker saga there. Directed by Sharmeen Obaid Chinoy, who directed 2 episodes of Ms. Marvel, and written by British writer Stephen Knight, who did the very popular British show Peaky Blinders.
I think Disney should just be printing money for this one.
Yeah.
Like, everybody loves Rey. People want more of Rey. Daisy Ridley is just like so charming. Mm-hmm. You can bring back characters like Poe Dameron, probably not Finn because of the real life controversies with him and comments that he's made, but like other characters who we've loved from the sequel trilogy. So I feel like for this one, man, this is a slam dunk for me. So I'm curious what sort of controversies there are surrounding it.
I'll tell you the controversy. The controversy is 40-plus-year-old Star Wars fans, male white 40-year-plus Star Wars fans who, say it's not my Star Wars. But I can tell you that there's an entire multiple generations, including my 12-year-old daughter, who, her favorite thing in Star Wars, what she's grown up with is 7, 8, and 9. And her favorite character by far in Star Wars, well, probably now Grogu, but her favorite favorite human character in Star Wars by far is Rey, and she will absolutely be there for a ticket for that. She'll be probably like 15, 16, 17 by then, and it'll be her and probably, a whole group of friends who will all be going to see that movie multiple times.
Cosplaying as Rey while they go in the theater.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think you're right, Michael. You can bring in that younger, I don't know, 15-year-old-ish that maybe saw the movies or whatever, when it comes out. I don't know.
Yeah. That will be their Star Wars.
Yeah, it'll be their Star Wars. And I think you can reset it just like what they did with Force Awakens. You come up with a new big bad, Empire type, like they brought back Thrawn and some of the book series and stuff. The Empire's dead. Well, it's really not. They're still lurking out there, and the Republic gets complacent, and then they show up again, and they're not ready.
James, please tell me you're not hoping the really Empire or a Death Star comes back again.
Exactly. Yeah. They might need to. They might.
You're killing me.
It better not be a new clone of her grandfather,
or maybe the Sith have I don't know, resurrected themselves in a different type of form as Sith or something. Maybe
I want a total left turn. No Sith, no Empire. Give me something new.
Well, I think you would have there would have to be an enemy, and I mean I think if she's building a new light side Jedi, then I think there will be a new dark side Jedi, but it may be something different. I think the same way that hopefully she would be not trying to recreate the mistakes of the past, that they would be doing the same thing, that they would be looking at the failures of what happened with the only two for thousands of years with the Sith, and probably doing their own thing as well. And it might even be maybe some combination of the two that maybe it's
maybe
all
they'll be gray Jedi.
Yeah,
something along those lines.
Yeah, I'm all
like
for
an Ahsoka
Yeah, I'm all for it being a whole innovation thing.
Yeah, the only just a little bit of tease we got as far as plot is starting a new Jedi Order, which post OT, that's what Luke set out to do, and then it all went to hell with his nephew. So we can kind of see. She doesn't have the sacred text that Luke had. So when she gets to write the rules, who knows where the story is going to go. But you're right, Michael.
Just have a feisty, bratty nephew.
Yeah, there does have to be some conflict. So maybe we do see John Boyega return. Maybe he goes the other way. Maybe he felt spurned by Rey, and maybe he's going to be the dark side.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Hurt my heart.
That'd be cool.
We actually have several live viewers on Facebook right now, and so I'm going to go ahead and pull up a comment from a Facebook viewer right now. Show me where Disney hurt you.
I'd have to stand up and bend over. I'm sorry.
It's interesting that we're coming back to Rey so soon. Like, it seems soon, but obviously, so someone in a position of power at Lucasfilm is like, this is a great character. There's more story to be told. So if the actor is on it, when have you ever seen a movie announcement where it's like, this guy's going to direct, and here's your star, before we know anything else? Like, that is the weirdest announcement. But hey, if Daisy's on board, that's cool.
Yeah,
and I mean,
I'm surprised.
By the time this movie comes out, I mean, it's going to be quite a few years. I mean, and they're setting it 15 years, after. So I mean, it's not like it's going to be right there. And I mean, we're going to have several years of Star Wars TV series first. I mean, so there's going to be a lot of Star Wars that will have happened by the time that movie happens.
Maybe there's like the New Order, hung out in the Outer Rim and then showed up, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe we'll have another threat like the Yuuzhan Vong or whatever. It will show up.
So we have another question from Linda on Facebook saying, can you create a light side Jedi Order without opening yourself up to a dark side rising? I mean, opening one means opening the other.
Yeah.
That's a very good point.
It just makes sense that if there's a new Jedi Order, there's going to be a new Sith Order. There's two sides there are,
Yeah.
Right. Force Awakens will be a decade old by the time this film comes out.
Exactly.
So part of the Force Awakens was the awakening, and it wasn't just the light side and dark. It was awakening in Rey just as much as it was with Snoke and Kylo Ren.
So before we leave Linda's first comment about show me where Disney hurt you, I will tell you where Disney's hurt me. Disney has not hurt me at all in the movies and shows it has put out. I've been a fan. I mean, maybe not as big a fan of Book of Boba Fett, but there are parts of it that I really like. Mando has been fantastic. I've loved all of the movies that have come out since Disney took over Lucasfilm. I know that's a controversial statement. Maybe not Rise of Skywalker. Scratch that. But generally, where Disney has hurt me is the teasing, right? Dale, you said Rangers of the New Republic. Yeah. I mentioned several directors and movie concepts and just so many ways that Lucasfilm has said, oh, we're going to put out this, or we're going to attach this director to it. And it's going to be fantastic. And then silence. And it's just like, where's that rug we can quietly sweep this under? Yeah. So, like, I get that they want to make these big, fun, exciting announcements. And they're very good at that. However, are they also good, Disney, at following through and actually creating and putting out these good products? Yeah. You know, he's been doing it, Dave Filoni. That's why I have the most confidence in that movie actually happening.
I would just call that life happening. I mean, that's to me, that doesn't bother me. Here's my direct answer to that question is I won't say where Disney hurt me, but here's where Star Wars hurt me. Midichlorians, died of a broken heart, doing Luke dirty and kind of not having him be such a spectacular failure at recreating the Jedi Order. And that's to me where I'm really excited for this movie, because I really feel like this is a chance to get a do-over on, we really should have had, Luke successfully recreating the Jedi Order in a way that we didn't get in that trilogy. And so now having the opportunity for Rey, and there was an allusion to this in terms of, could there potentially be, a return of Luke as a Force ghost, guiding Rey to an extent, in her building the new Jedi Order. And now what was said was there's no guarantee. Kathleen Kennedy specifically, when asked that, said, we're not necessarily going to go there. But to me, that possibility of having that do-over of, having Rey's building a Jedi Order being a lot, better success than Luke was, because as I've said, and will continue to say as we go through, the saga and stuff, my favorite thing and why I'm excited about some of these projects is Jedi action, is having Jedi in their prime, having large number of Jedis with lightsabers, being a force of good in the galaxy, and really being the true kind of saviors of the galaxy. And so having that opportunity, like, to me, that was my biggest disappointment in 7, 8, and 9 is just them, just as you said, kind of brushing aside. And for me, it was the real world. For me, it's in the story that they basically brushed aside this whole thing that Luke had 20 plus years to rebuild the Jedi Order, and based on one failure, the whole thing fell apart. Yeah. And so I really feel from a story standpoint, that's my biggest problem with that trilogy, is I really feel they did the character of Luke a huge disservice by just saying that, like, he completely failed as like a Jedi mentor, and his new Jedi Order just completely fell apart.
Yeah, Rey's definitely a different personality than Luke when it comes to confidence, determination, yes, stubbornness, and if she puts her mind to a new Jedi Order, she can accomplish it. So, but yeah, I mean, if you have a lot of Jedi, you have new Jedi Order. They are the Knights of Justice, looking to have another 1,000 generations of peace and justice in the galaxy. And I see her as somebody who's able to do that and have a good antagonist and good storytelling. So
that's my hope. That's my dream on that. Yeah. Let's go ahead and get back to our slideshow there, and so we all have our hopes for that. So we do have some actual trailers. There's going to be a second season of Star Wars Visions, which Star Wars Visions was where multiple animation companies were given the chance to create stories set in the Star Wars universe, usually around Jedi, that all could be completely unrelated to the saga, could be completely unrelated to, disconnected from any existing storylines, could be about anything, and each episode was a completely different animation style. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we are looking forward to in season 2 or volume 2 of Star Wars Visions, coming on Star Wars Day this year, so in just a couple of weeks.
So quickly too, like They announce that it's happening, and guess what? You're getting it in less than a month.
Yeah.
Who's this guy?
I'm going to lower the volume, hopefully, so that we can be heard better.
He looks like he's a bad guy.
Yeah, he definitely looks like a bad guy.
This is bad news, man.
Yeah, so definitely Jedi in ways that we haven't seen them before.
Everyone has an inner light.
Oh, stop motion.
Yeah, completely different styles. Yeah, nine different animation studios with 9 different animation styles. So we've got more Japanese type style. I believe one is the Aardman Studios, the people who do Wallace and
I
Gromit.
saw it myself. She has special powers.
Can you get your porta potty off the starting?
Oh yeah.
She's
I enjoy humor in my Star Wars.
Don't be afraid.
Claymation.
May the force be with you.
And that's good. I mean, whatever style helps tell the story, right?
Yeah, and to tell different types of stories.
Yeah, if the story's good, it's
Different feelings of the story. Yeah.
I'm strong enough now.
Yeah, that first season of the stories we got in Visions last season was every story had a lightsabers in it, and it looks like that's the formula the 2 studios are going to use again. Is let's see the force.
much more interesting than that first season, honestly.
Yeah,
I love that Wookiee, the whole thing like Wookiees will tear your arms off, and a little kind of Wookiee child kind of showing, yeah, don't make me angry.
We cannot choose where our calling takes us.
And you want to like draw themes, ideas across all these different types of characters and episodes and settings, animation styles, right? That's got to be hard to find a constant theme throughout.
Right. It's kind of like official fan films with a budget.
Yeah.
Fan films are not canon. These stories are not canon. They're just stories in that universe. So,
yeah.
Nor do they have any characters we recognize. Like, I didn't see anybody in any of those who is a character who's been introduced before.
No, I mean, I think that's the idea of these, is that it's completely separate from any existing storylines. It's just stuff told in the universe. It's just more Star Wars. It's more Star Wars. It's a whole big tapestry of worlds and stories that can be told. So let's see. So let's get back to this. Do we want to do the Indiana Jones trailer? It's up to you guys.
Let's keep going.
Okay.
Yeah. There's no force. There's no force.
I'm really excited for it, but I've watched it a couple times.
Yeah, I'm really excited for it, but I mean,
I am too. Yeah, I think it's a return to the original films. That's what's cool about it.
Yeah.
That's
like
a
any
great
Indiana
announcement that we're getting Visions so quickly, because it seemed like that was going to be further out. And there was just going to be like that little kid show coming out on May 4th. So getting Visions on May 4th.
And honestly, also interestingly enough, I'd never heard of an outcry for more Star Wars Visions.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where this came from. I mean, it's nice. If this is the item on the menu that you want to eat, go for it. But it didn't seem like there was really like in the Star Wars fan community a real groundswell asking for more Visions.
Well, to me, the great thing about it was like from the first group that came out, like I didn't watch all of them, and I kind of looked through them and saw like, okay, which animation style or which type of story kind of appealed to me, and I watched maybe 2 or 3 of them, and I think that's what's great about it is you can kind of just pick and choose, what you want to watch. There's no onus on having to watch 3 other ones to understand the 4th. You don't have to watch like all of them to understand like a consistent story. You can pick and choose and just say, hey, I'm a Wallace and Gromit fan, or I want like a funnier version of Star Wars. So you watch that one episode, that's from Aardman Studios, and not have to watch any of the others. That's kind of the great thing about that format.
What I like is it's every studio just got a clean slate to write their own story. Now if you go to buy a Star Wars comic book at the comic shop, there's no just standalone issue of a story. It's this is chapter 1 of 4, or this is a 12-month of it. It's a huge thing. It's a bigger commitment versus these. If the entire story is wrapped up in 17 minutes, awesome.
Okay, so the next, like I said, we're going to go past Indiana Jones. No one needs to be sold on going to see the Indiana Jones movie. It's going to be huge. It comes out June 30th. But yeah, I'd say the biggest thing to come out, beyond the movie announcements and everything, I think the biggest thing was actually getting the trailer for Ahsoka, and especially like, in the world we're living in with the Mandalorian being so huge and us going over the tales of the Jedi and, living in the Dave Filoni universe. I think this trailer for Ahsoka just, is really crazy in terms of something that we actually have in the world now. So let's go ahead and do that. And I think I'm open to, if anyone wants to say stop or pause, because for me, I'd love to have some of the stuff in here explained. So, I think probably some of our audience would feel that way too. I'm gonna lower the volume on it, and I may pause it along the way here.
Something dark.
So yeah, Ahsoka from Clone Wars, from Rebels, the characters in those showing up, and even in the trailer, definitely in the show.
And it's Rosario Dawson who played her, now in several episodes of The Mandalorian, now taking over the role
Ashley Eckstein.
Sorry.
Ashley Eckstein.
Yeah, that Ashley Eckstein played in the animated series. So her taking over that role and now bringing it into live action, but really essentially a live action Rebels.
Yeah. This is a little bit of a callback to the Jedi temples we see in Rebels, but also, why'd she have to cut a hole in the floor? I mean, there's a staircase right over there. So
there's Sabine.
And a Lothcat.
Rebels.
Yeah. We've got the two lightsabers. Now I'm trying to remember, is that the same color as the lightsabers she had in Clone Wars and Rebels?
She had white.
Okay, so that's what they were here in the trailer.
Yeah.
And so
there's Sarah from Rebels and Chopper.
Right. I know that a lot of people.
That's pretty exciting. Love Chopper.
This is our first look at Mary Elizabeth Winstead. Is being confirmed as Hera, replacing Vanessa Marshall. And the first time I watched this, seeing live action Chopper, that got me pretty damn excited. I know we got to see Chopper roll through the background in Rogue One, but
definitely a fan favorite.
For others.
So now we've got some new villains here. These are new characters, right?
Correct.
Or is it?
Oh yeah.
They didn't even get a name until Saturday. On Friday, they had no names.
Yeah. So that was an Imperial uniform. It kind of looked like there.
Imperial ship or something new.
Yeah. So we've got someone with a red lightsaber, or actually an orange lightsaber. Dave Filoni was asked about this. The bad guys here have orange tinted lightsabers, and in the interview with Dave Filoni, he basically said, "Oh, you caught that? That's a callback, to that. I guess him saying that in the original kind of films that Darth Vader's lightsaber would slightly vary in color." And that the orange is intentional and means something, but he's not telling us what that means yet.
There's a popular scene we saw from Clone Wars and Rebels, and that seeing that tower, seeing the city from a distance, and then right here is Sabine, who we see in live action for the first time, which is very cool. And
so
her and Ahsoka have a history together.
And a Mandalorian who is a former wielder of the Darksaber. I believe we're going to be covering some of those episodes of Rebels soon, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Well, things have changed.
All right, who we got here? Anybody recognize?
So the huge thing that stands out here, and I think it's intentional, is Mon Mothma. To me, in my head, this could be a flashback scene because she looks exactly how she does in the Andor, the prequel era.
Yeah.
Genevieve O'Reilly. They do not make her look like Carolyn Blackiston circa 1983.
Yeah.
But so if this is either a flashback, or we can assume after the Empire falls and she becomes, takes up this leadership position with the New Republic, that she's back to regal looks and not looking like Carolyn Blackiston.
And just good genetics for her.
Yes. There's another guy right to her left, our right, whose name is the same as Kaz's character. The guy second from the right. Same last name as Kaz from Resistance, so it could possibly be Kaz's dad.
Oh, okay.
We'll find out in August.
And then our first look at a live action Thrawn.
Probably the antagonist for the series, I'm sure.
He is in a lot of respects, he is the toughest foe for anybody, right? He's just so amazing. So
in that post
So
Return of the
intelligent
Jedi
and so
era.
calculating, a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, basically that post Return of the Jedi,
Yeah.
era. He it hasn't been really established yet here, but it was in the EU novels, which are now legends, but we're definitely seem to be Filoni definitely seems to be bringing that back in.
Yeah, they've kind of made him more canon, especially when they put him in Rebels and stuff.
And you don't see it here, and you don't hear his voice, but it was confirmed that Lars Mikkelsen, who played the voice in the animated series, is going to be playing him in live action.
Yeah, the extended trailer that came out on Saturday, you got to see him from the front.
Oh, do you?
So you got to see him all in the blue makeup, and it's a blue guy. He looks cool. But would you say is Thrawn the most powerful bad guy that's not a Force user in canon?
Yeah, in my opinion, yeah, definitely.
I mean, depending on where they go with him, I
agree.
As heir to the Empire.
And she actually said the words as heir to the Empire.
Come on, that's like somebody saying the name of the movie in a movie, right? Come on now. That's a little fan baiting to me right here.
He keeps causing these Star Wars.
Wouldn't that be a great title for the Dave Filoni Star Wars movie?
Yes.
Yeah, I could understand I could definitely see Thrawn being the main antagonist for that movie too.
Oh yeah.
Now, who was that? Do we know?
Mando season 2, we saw her. The name escapes me, but she fought against Ahsoka already.
Oh, okay.
The magistrate.
The one that had the Beskar
stick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
I never would have remembered that until you said that. Until I asked who is that, and you said that. So
I know who that is.
Yeah, I believe he's new. So
that's George Lucas.
We have to.
But he's got an orange lightsaber.
Prepare for the worst.
Prepare for the worst.
The Jedi fell a long time ago.
Well, it looks like they're fighting possibly in the world between worlds from near the end of Rebels, or season 4 of Rebels anyway. I don't know how critical that's going to be to what we end up seeing in the Ahsoka series, or if it's just the background. From what little bit they said about the plot is this bearded guy is the master of the other girl with the similar lightsaber color,
which would make
he
sense.
sends her to off Ahsoka. So we'll see multiple lightsaber fights, I think.
Oh, there's Ezra.
Yep, so you see,
a picture, not necessarily moving, not like an interactive call.
Are there going to be space whales? That's what I want to see.
We can hope so. We can only hope.
That would be cool.
Yeah. Rebel. Jedi.
Perhaps it is time to begin.
So this guy, right, Dale? You recognize this droid?
Huyang in Clone Wars was played by David Tennant,
and it is played by David Tennant again.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yes,
so,
that is confirmed that it is played by David Tennant, and I believe the stories were all that he, I guess, won an Emmy for playing the role originally, and so it is Emmy winner David Tennant reprising his animated role.
Okay.
As a lightsaber building droid or something like that. Survived this whole time. Very nice. There's your title card. Star Wars Ahsoka. Coming to a streaming service near you in August.
Visually awesome. They gave Ahsoka longer Leiku than we saw her with in Mando. So it's closer to the animated look, I guess. I know when she showed up in Mando, Filoni was like, well, we want it to be a little more realistic. It can't be super long, but for that trailer anyway, they're longer and it looks awesome.
Okay, so that takes us through the trailers. So the teasers, things that were not shown in public that you had to be there at Celebration in London, was Andor Season 2, Skeleton Crew, The Acolyte, and they announced that the Bad Batch the next season will be the third and final season. So we'll wrap up that story, or at least be the end of that series, which probably still ties into some of the other Dave Filoni-ish stuff. the Filoni-verse.
Awesome.
I think there's actually some trailers online now for Skeleton Crew and stuff.
Are there? When I tried looking for the teasers,
it's a real short one, and I think the Acolyte as well.
Yeah, everywhere I looked for them, it kept saying like that Lucasfilm had removed it. So
yes,
so there's
some
no official place to get those teasers.
Yeah, they'll eventually put it out. It was just kind of annoying because on the live stream they'd be interviewing people and talking about these trailers, which the general public didn't get to see. You only got to see it from, a 10-year-old holding up their cell phone during the thing.
It's the same thing at Comic-Con in San Diego. Whenever they do like the big studio presentations, when Marvel comes out or, all the other big studios come out, you'll see live stream of the actual like interviews, like the actual panel and everything. And then they say, and then they're going to show this, and then they show this, and then they cut off the stream. So you never see it. So
right.
There has to be some benefit to being there in the room.
Yeah, that's your payback for paying hundreds of dollars for a ticket. So
right.
And you get in the main hall there.
I guess one of the other things that they announced today, the next Star Wars Celebration will be in 2025, also the same weekend. So it is actually will be Easter weekend again. So Easter weekend 2025 in Tokyo.
Yeah.
I hope all the Star Wars fans in Tokyo and surrounding areas enjoy.
Yeah, so start saving now.
Yeah.
Right. Save your yen.
I've always wanted to see Japan. So
yeah.
But yeah, the out of everything by far, and it was one of the first things that came out on Friday, but the Ahsoka trailer just blew me away. Like
There's
I said,
a lot of excitement about it. I'm very excited. I just started reading Ahsoka the novel, and it's
good stuff.
She's a really interesting character. Again, Ahsoka, for the people that don't know, she kind of got basically kicked out of the Jedi Order because she didn't want to follow the rules. So
yeah, we haven't covered that stuff yet. I mean, I don't know if we're going to right now in terms of Clone Wars. It's not kind of in the current batch, but at some point we will double back around to giving more of Ahsoka's story there. But for me, being still a fairly neophyte Rebels watcher, like I've really just kind of bounced around the series, and know roughly about the characters and know roughly about some of their journeys and stuff like that. I'm really looking forward to, as we kind of delve into some of it, understanding those storylines a little bit better. But for me, it was still very, very exciting to see them in live action.
Yeah. And I'm glad that they are in it looks like kind of the same time period as Rebels and stuff like that. I really like that series a lot. It's probably my favorite series, honestly, for animated.
Yeah, for as much action as we've seen so far on the Disney Plus streaming series, we haven't seen a lot of lightsabers. We've seen the Darksaber, but other than little flashbacks and things, that Force wielders or lightsaber users haven't been part of those. The Mandalorian Book of Boba Fett so far. So,
and I think that was probably intentional on their part, since with Mandalorian we were definitely trying to do, or they were definitely trying to do something else and kind of go into a different, establish like that Star Wars could be something other than lightsaber wielders.
Yeah,
but as you do Ahsoka as a series, I mean, at that point it's about Jedi, or it's about Force wielders.
Very cool. Very exciting weekend.
Very exciting stuff.
I haven't gotten through the live streams from the past 2 days. I did get through them the first 2 days, but the last two I haven't done it. But my wife was kind of like, well, you don't have to watch it all today. Like, you can kind of spread that out. These 7-hour-long videos, I don't have to watch them all today. So.
And I literally sent you a text when I was at an event on Saturday and said, why aren't you at this event? You live 15 minutes away, and you're a collector of everything. And it was an event that had like 100 booths of people selling toys and collectibles and stuff like that. I was like, why aren't you here? And you go, I'm watching the live streams right now.
I was doing Celebration from home, and I was very excited. I was very in the moment of Celebration from across the ocean. So we'll see what that's like for Japan, as far as, them streaming the content. I know the panels will certainly be different. When they did Japan 15 years ago, it was a thing where in each panel there'd be this live translation, so there'd be a little bit of a delay, which kind of cuts down on your content because of that translation piece. But you have to be able to accommodate to the language of the local audience.
Well, thanks for sticking around, and thanks for doing this extra bonus episode of Binging the Force that we will get out here pretty quickly. It's definitely fun to go over this stuff and kind of break from our standard review episode. So, but we will still be doing that again next week.
All right.
Thanks for joining us.
See you guys.
See you guys.
And thanks to those of us watching live. We actually had several live viewers for this. So.
All right.
Good,
This
good,
is the
good.
way.
Tell your friends about it.